India is the world's largest democracy, and the Indian Parliament is the soul of the country's democracy. Our Parliament is the supreme legislative body which embodies the powers of the Constitution. For the past over 7 decades, the Indian Parliament has been setting high standards in its democratic journey. To understand democracy closely, it is essential to understand the Indian Parliament. Inspired by this objective, the Youth Parliament program was started in the country. Before understanding what the Youth Parliament is, let us understand how the foundation of the Youth Parliament was laid. We know that the roots of parliamentary democracy in India are very deep. Let us know and understand India's governance system closely. In the 4th All India Whip Conference in 1962, the idea of organizing Youth Parliament in all educational institutions was proposed. Following this, in 1965, the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs gave shape to the Youth Parliament scheme in higher secondary schools. In 1966-67, the first Youth Parliament competition was organized in Delhi. The Youth Parliament is essentially a simulation of parliamentary activities where students present the conduct of parliamentary proceedings. Through the Youth Parliament, students develop an understanding of how the highest unit of governance in the country, our Parliament, functions, how laws are made for the country, and how existing laws are amended. Talking about the objectives of Youth Parliament, it explains parliamentary proceedings to students. It simplifies parliamentary processes. Students come to know how to study public issues. It encourages formation of opinions, develops decision-making capabilities, fosters respect and tolerance for differing perspectives, trains for discussion and conduct, makes students aware of the circumstances facing the country, develops leadership qualities in students, sensitizes students towards the problems of the general public. After understanding what the Youth Parliament is and its objectives, let us now know how the preparation of the Youth Parliament is done. Students need time for the preparation of the Youth Parliament. So, those who want to be a part of the Youth Parliament have to manage their time in such a way that their studies are not disrupted. Some important points need to be considered while selecting students for the Youth Parliament. The students should have sufficient time. Students should be capable of debating. They should have knowledge of social, economic and political issues. Command over language and ability to express ideas is an important point. Ability to lead and work with everyone is essential. The number of students in the Youth Parliament should be between 50 to 55. The Youth Parliament has proved to be very important in understanding the functioning of the Indian Parliament. Our Parliament consists of the President and 2 houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha is also called the House of the People and Rajya Sabha is called the Council of States. In organizing the Youth Parliament, we usually present the proceedings of the lower house, that is, the Lok Sabha. Therefore, it is essential for students to understand the proceedings of the Lok Sabha and its list of business. The proceedings of the House are broadly divided into 2 parts: government work and non-government work. There is a long list for procedure for government work in the Lok Sabha. It is not necessary that all the issues included in the list be presented in one session during the proceedings of the House. The agenda acts as a guide. In the Youth Parliament, we try to choose those issues that can be completed within a specified time period. In this episode, the topics we have selected for the Youth Parliament are oath-taking of new members, obituary references, question hour, papers to be laid on the table of the House, adjournment motion, no confidence motion against the Council of Ministers, short duration discussion on matters of public importance, proposed bills and legislative work. The proceedings of the House always start with the arrival of the Speaker. The Marshal makes the formal announcement of the Speaker's arrival. The announcement goes something like this. With the announcement, all the members present in the House stand in respect of the Speaker, and they sit only after the Speaker takes his or her seat. Oath-taking. Newly elected members of the House take the oath at the beginning of the session, and the oath-taking program proceeds as follows.
Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi.
मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी जो लोकसभा का सदस्य निर्वाचित हुआ हूं, ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा। मैं भारत की प्रभुता और अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूंगा तथा जिस पद को मैं ग्रहण करने वाला हूं, उसके कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक निर्वहन करूंगा।
Oath can be taken in English, Hindi, or any of the 22 languages included in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. Newly elected members should have a copy of the oath letter. Before the oath, the newly elected member should go to the right side of the Secretary General. During the oath, the member's face should be towards the Speaker. After the oath, it is customary for the member to greet the Speaker. Obituary reference. Under this proposal, members of the House are informed about the demise of a member, former member, or national or international personalities. After this, the Speaker requests all members in the House to stand and observe 2 minutes of silence for the peace of the departed soul. Generally, after this, the Speaker, Leader of the House, and Leader of the Opposition address the House. The Speaker asks the Secretary General to send a condolence message to the bereaved family. During the obituary reference in the House, some points need to be kept in mind. The Speaker should have a written copy of the obituary reference. All members should stand during the observance of silence. All members should sit only after the Speaker sits. Question hour. The first part of the proceedings of the Lok Sabha is the question hour, which contains start questions that are asked orally in the House and unstart questions that are generally written questions. During the question hour, members can ask the government for information on any issue of public importance. If the duration of the Youth Parliament session is an hour, then question hour can be presented for 10 minutes. In the Youth Parliament, only oral questions are taken. For oral questions, the Speaker calls out the member's name and the question number. The member stands up and asks the Minister his or her question. Minister of the concerned department then answers the question. If needed, a supplementary question is asked. Here is an example of how a question is asked during the question hour.
श्रीमती हेमा मालिनी।
जैसे कि हम सब जानते हैं कि भारत बायोडाइवर्सिटी के मामले में रिच और लीडिंग कंट्री है, लेकिन ये भी सच है कि कई पशु पक्षियों पर एक्सटिंक्ट होने का खतरा मंडरा रहा है। गंभीर खतरे और अन्य विलुप्त पशु पक्षियों की रक्षा करने के लिए सरकार कई योजनाएं पॉलिसीज लाई है, लेकिन सफलता नहीं पा रही है। मेरा माननीय मंत्री से यही सवाल है कि भारत में राष्ट्रीय पक्षी मोर सहित कई पक्षियों की आबादी बहुत तेज़ी से घट रही है और पक्षी की कई स्पीसीज पर संकट खड़ा हो रहा है। यहाँ तक कि मथुरा, जो भगवान श्री कृष्ण की नगरी है, वहाँ पर भी मोर बहुत कम नज़र आने लगे हैं। इस स्थिति को देखते हुए सरकार ने ड्यूरिंग द रिसेंट ईयर्स क्या क्या विशेष कदम उठाए हैं और वो सकारात्मक परिणाम सामने आए हैं क्या?
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, माननीय सदस्य ने सही कहा है, वो मथुरा से आती हैं और भगवान कृष्ण के भी मोर पंख ही सिर पे हम देखते हैं। बाकी जो हमारे तमिलनाडु के मित्र हैं वो भी इस बात को जानते हैं कि वहाँ भी भगवान शिव के पुत्र कार्तिकेय की इनकी सवारी भी मोर है। तो मोर हमारी पूरी पौराणिक सभ्यताओं में है। माननीय सदस्य ने जो कहा है कि हम एंडेंजर्ड स्पीशीज़ के लिए अलग अलग प्रोग्राम चलाते हैं और विशेष रूप से टाइगर कंजर्वेशन, लॉयन कंजर्वेशन, एलिफेंट कंजर्वेशन, इनके लिए तो हम चलाते ही हैं। लेकिन जहाँ तक ये जो एंडेंजर्ड स्पीशीज़ हैं, इसके लिए हम समय समय पर नोटिफिकेशन भी निकालते हैं। और एक जो सबसे बड़ा खतरा है कि जो कई पक्षी ऐसे हैं जिनके शिकार किया जाता है और उनके कई भागों का उपयोग कई अन्य तरीके से किया जाता है, उसके लिए भी हम अपने क्राइम ब्यूरो की तरफ से एक सख्त प्रोटेक्शन के मेजर्स करते हैं। जो पक्षी एंडेंजर्ड हैं उनके ब्रीडिंग और कंजर्वेशन सेंटर हमने चलाए हैं और उसमें भी अपेक्षित सफलता प्राप्त करें।
Let us know some more rules of the question hour. Do not take anyone's name improperly. The statement should not be sarcastic or defamatory. Do not ask questions on anyone's character. The question should be precise and short. The question should relate to public interest and the government. Do not refer to information given in a reference book. Any disrespectful reference to neighboring, friendly country has to be avoided. Do not raise questions on matters that are sub judice. Few more important points need to be adhered to during question hour. Copies of the lists of questions should be available. Members' questions should be ready. Ministers should have prepared responses to the questions. The minister should have a copy of the answers to the supplementary questions. The Speaker should have copies of the questions and supplementary questions. Papers to be laid on the table of the House. Documents that are not read out in the House are placed on the table of the House for authentic reference and information. These documents are important and can serve as the basis for any future debates. Documents placed on the table of the House are generally submitted through the ministers. When we talk about the types of documents, they contain annual reports of public enterprises, reports of institutions established under laws, reports related to autonomy, government proposals on important matters, government reports on significant topics. With the permission of the Speaker, any member or the Secretary General can place documents on the table of the House. Let us look at an example for this.
अपने नाम के समक्ष उल्लिखित कागजात सभा के पटल पर रखने की अनुमति चाहता हूँ।
मैं आज की कार्यसूची में मेरे नाम के सामने मत संख्या 6 पर वर्णित कागजात आपकी अनुमति से सदन के पटल पर रखता हूँ। सेक्रेटरी जनरल।
Sir, I have to report 4 messages received from Rajya Sabha regarding 1. Election of 10 members from Rajya Sabha to the Committee on Welfare of Other Backward Classes. 2. election of 10 members from Rajya Sabha to the Committee on Welfare of Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes. 3. Election of 7 members from Rajya Sabha to the Committee on Public Accounts, and 4. Election of 7 members from Rajya Sabha to the Committee on Public Undertakings.
The next item on the agenda is a motion for calling attention, which is brought up only for urgent and sensitive issues that require immediate consideration. Prior approval from the Speaker is necessary for this. Questions can also be asked on the concerned minister.
सभा के आग्रह पर अनुदानों की मांगों के मध्य में रूल 197 के तहत कॉल अटेंशन लिया जा रहा है।
मान्यवर, सबसे पहले तो मैं एक दुखद आपदा में जिन जिन लोगों ने अपने स्वजन गंवाए हैं, जो लोग अभी लापता है, जबरदस्त ट्रॉमा में जी रहे हैं, और जो इंजर्ड हुए हैं, वो सभी के प्रति मैं हृदय से मेरी संवेदना व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं।
There are specific rules for bringing a calling attention motion. In a calling attention motion, only one subject is raised. The topic is included in the agenda, and both the speaker and the members should have complete knowledge of the subject. This motion is introduced to draw the attention of the House to a matter of urgent public importance. Generally, the adjournment motion is given priority. A member seeking to move an adjournment motion has to inform the Speaker in writing, specifying the matter to be raised. Generally, the subjects which are not listed are not considered in the House, but the adjournment motion is an exception. Adjournment motion can be brought if the issue is related to national interest and security. Members can bring an adjournment motion on the issue. Prior information has to be given before bringing an adjournment motion. Permission of the Speaker is not enough to discuss the motion. 10% of the members too have to agree to the motion. After this has been ensured, the member bringing the proposal presents his views. Other members also express their views. After completion of the discussion, the concerned minister replies. After the debate is over, the Speaker conducts voting on the motion. If the motion is passed by the House, then there is no remaining business on that day and the House is adjourned. And if the motion is defeated, then the House functions according to its predetermined schedule. No confidence motion. Under the Constitution of India, the government is answerable to the Lok Sabha. In our parliamentary democracy, this means that the Council of Ministers can continue in office only on the confidence of the Lok Sabha. Anytime the Council of Ministers loses the confidence of the Lok Sabha, the government has to resign immediately. No confidence motion is brought against the entire cabinet. No confidence motion cannot be brought against a minister. It is not necessary to explain the grounds in a no confidence motion. Speaker's permission is required before presenting it. After this, the Speaker asks the member to seek permission from other members of the House to bring a no confidence motion. If 10% of the members in the House are in favor of bringing the motion, then permission is given to bring the no confidence motion. There are some other terms and conditions for bringing a no confidence motion. After getting the permission of the House, a no confidence motion is brought against the government, on which the debate begins. Both the opposition and the ruling party take part in the debate. After the debate is over, the Prime Minister answers the allegations against his government. After that, voting takes place on the no confidence motion. If more than half of the members present in the House vote against the no confidence motion, then the government remains in power. If the situation is the opposite, then the cabinet has to resign immediately. Let us know what things one has to keep in mind for bringing a no confidence motion in the Youth Parliament. Have complete information about the process of bringing a no confidence motion. The permission of the House is necessary before bringing a proposal. Know how to initiate a no confidence motion. Members should be prepared with their speeches. The Speaker should know what to say when. Members should be prepared to speak on the motion. Prime Minister's answer should be ready. Short duration discussion. The tradition of conducting short duration discussion in the Lok Sabha began in 1953. Through this, members get an opportunity to debate any matter of public importance. As the name suggests, any member can initiate a short duration discussion on any subject. It does not require formal voting or a motion, but prior notice for such a debate is necessary. This notice must be supported by 2 other members. The format of a short duration discussion is as follows. Short duration discussion takes place on matters of urgent public importance. Members participate in the discussion under Rule 193. At the end, the concerned minister gives a brief response to the debate. There are certain rules and conditions for a short duration discussion. The concerned member should have a brief speech prepared. Members participating in the debate should have their speeches ready. Only the minister of the relevant department will respond to the debate. Bills and legislative work. We know that lawmaking is the primary function of the Parliament. To create laws, all bills are introduced in the Parliament as proposals. A bill is essentially a draft of a law. The task of drafting a bill is done by experts and officials knowledgeable in the subject. A bill only becomes a law after receiving Parliament's approval and the President's signature. Such bills, usually presented by ministers, are called government bills. However, there are also bills that any non-minister member of the House can present, known as private members' bills. The process of introducing a bill in the House involves 3 readings. Before presenting the bill in the House, permission is sought. The minister requests for Speaker's approval to introduce the bill. The Speaker takes the opinion of the members of the House on the bill. Once permission is granted, the bill is formally introduced. There is no opposition during the first reading. The bill is then presented in the House for discussion. There are 2 scenarios in the second reading. In the first scenario, one of the following measures can be adopted. A proposal to consider the bill can be sent to the Select Committee of the Lok Sabha. The proposal can be referred to the Select Committee after obtaining the approval of both Houses of Parliament. The proposed bill can be sent for a referendum to gauge public opinion. After this, a debate takes place on the principles of the bill. In the second stage of the second reading, the principles of the bill are discussed. The different sections of the bill are considered separately. Notice for amendments can be given before the debate on the bill begins. Amendments are submitted one day before the bill is considered. The Speaker needs the permission of the House to allow the amendments. When presenting the bill in the House, the Minister says, "Sir, I propose that the discussion on the bill begins," and seeks the Speaker's permission for the debate. After receiving permission, the Minister explains the importance of the bill and its subject matter. Following this, the Minister invites the House to discuss the bill. After this stage, the debate begins, in which members from both sides participate. It is important to note that the discussion should be focused only on the principles and provisions of the bill. Finally, the concerned minister responds and concludes the debate. If members want amendments during this time, those amendments are put to vote. In the third reading stage, the bill is presented. The process to pass the bill is conducted. The minister seeks the Speaker's permission to pass the bill. The Speaker asks for the opinion of the House on the bill through a yes or no vote. The Speaker asks for the House's opinion 3 times. If there is a consensus, the bill is passed. A general bill is considered passed if it receives more than 50% support from the members of the House. In case of a Constitution Amendment Bill, the requirement differs. A Constitution Amendment Bill is considered passed only if it receives 2/3 support from the members of the House. After the legislative work concludes, we can end the Youth Parliament session. During the conduct of the Youth Parliament, parliamentary decorum must be strictly followed. Therefore, inappropriate language should not be used in the House. Here, we would like to inform that on November 26, 2019, the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs developed a web portal to promote the Youth Parliament program. The National Youth Parliament Schemes web portal is available at www.nyps.mpa.gov.in. The main objective of the portal is to extend the reach of the Ministry's Youth Parliament program to every corner of the country. The portal's features include 3 ways to participate in NYPS. All types of educational institutions, individuals and groups can register. Students can also register individually. There is also a provision for group registration. Participating students receive a digital certificate. The in-charge teacher and the head of the institution are given certificates of appreciation. The purpose of the Youth Parliament web portal is to strengthen the roots of democracy, develop healthy habits of discipline, promote tolerance towards others' viewpoints, and enable the student community to understand parliamentary practices and procedures. On this portal, one can find the Youth Parliament script, tutorial, pictures, audio and video files. All the information needed to participate in the Youth Parliament is available on the portal. Moreover, students and participants from any corner of the country can register individually or as a group on NYPS and become part of the Youth Parliament. E-training facilities are also available on this portal for participants' self-learning. We hope you like this tutorial on the Youth Parliament. With best wishes for your bright future, goodbye.